Hey everyone, welcome to the Pipeline Podcast. Great conversation today. We are going to be talking about the customer journey. We're even going to pull up a website and show you the first parts of the customer journey and what your website needs to look like. I am here with Anna and Kaylee. Hey girls.
Hey guys. My name is Kaylee. I'm the marketing specialist here at Mr.Pipeline. I've been in marketing for about four and a half years now. And throughout that time, I've seen a lot of changes throughout, online marketing and all of that. So yeah, I'm excited to dive into the topic of the customer journey. I think it's super important for as a business owner to know what your customer goes through in order to find you. And yeah, so I've seen a lot and I'm excited to talk about this today.
Awesome, and I'm Anna. I'm a lead account manager here at Mr. Pipeline. I've been working in marketing and sales for the past 10 years, let's say. So I know what's important. It's really nice to be in here and talk about how we get our customers and make them trust us and then come back again. So yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Excited conversation. We have, just kind of the first steps of the customer journey that we're going to go over, and then we'll do the other steps in another podcast. Keep it short for you guys. So Kaylee's going to kick us off and dive right in.
Yeah. So, kind of like I said a little bit before, I think that as a business owner, it's really important to understand your customer's journey because then you can create a better experience for them. And I think one of the best ways to think about it is think of yourself as a consumer, because at one point or the other, we are all consumers. We all have needs. And, often when we have needs, we go to people who have experience or have their expertise in that specific need. So that's really where it starts. That's really where the customer journey starts, is that you recognize that you have a need. You recognize that you have a problem. Let's just say you're a homeowner and you need your gutters cleaned. So what do you do with that need or that intent? You search for something, right? You search, you either ask around, oh, do you know any gutter companies that you can refer me to? Or you just go on Google, which is a super, online is super important. That's where people mainly search for their needs. So they go to Google or they search gutter cleaning near me, or a big thing that's going on right now is ChatGPT. A lot of people are, going to ChatGPT now to search for companies, search for more information. And, what we've seen with showing on ChatGPT is blogs. Blogs are super important. So I know that Mara knows a little bit more about that and how it really supports, an SEO strategy. So if you want to dive more into that side.
Yeah, it was crazy. The other day I was watching something and it was talking about the AI overview. I know you guys have seen it. When you go to Google, it's that first snippet that shows up. So when you're searching, actually AI overview, it's not dynamic. So you could be searching and then Anna could be searching and then I could be searching and we could get totally different answers. That's why it's super important, not to completely trust what's in the AI overview, but people are reading it and trusting it. That's just, the reality of it. So what you have to do to get in that AI overview is you have to have blogs. You have to have, frequently asked questions that, that you're going to get that snippet in the AI overview. I don't know about you guys, but I use ChatGPT and Gemini a lot. Even, comparing companies now. So when I was searching for someone to clean my gutters, just recently, I was asking Gemini, what are the best gutter companies in the area and, what makes them stand out? And Google was doing the searching for me. And if you're not present on, Google, Gemini is not going to be picking that up. It also, matters of that social media presence and everything. We'll get into that later on. But yeah, that it's just ChatGPT and Gemini. That's where our consumers are really searching right now. So, if you're not doing blogs, you got to get on that trend.
Yeah, I feel it starts with awareness, like you mentioned, Kaylee. And blogs are super important. Reviews are super important, but communication is key as well. But if you can't communicate like what your services are, how you're different, and how you can compete with others within your industry, then that's a problem. Also, like how you take a look at when people call, like what's going on when they call me. Am I able to answer that call? Is my pitch the same as what you see on the website? So there's like plenty of things that I feel need to go all together for it to work. And what if you look like into your socials and then get back to your website, like, and if and you see different stuff, like how's that gonna work out? So I feel like it all starts with awareness and for business owners to have like coherence of what they're doing, like all over the place, right? Not only online presence, but like traditional marketing, like all the material you have like hanging on your doors and the flyers, like they all have to have like the same information, I feel. And that's why it's so important, like to consider every aspect when we're talking about the customer journey.
Yeah, I agree. So so the main point of it is that, it's important to just be on everything. I know like there's a lot of business owners too that like Anna, you touched on the traditional marketing methods. And for a lot of businesses, like I would say maybe older businesses, they're already established and, their main form of marketing is the word of mouth, right? Most of them are like, oh, I don't really do any online marketing. I don't have an online presence. Like, I don't really need it because, my word of mouth is just what I need. It's perfect. But I would say honestly, like, if you are at that point, like it's awesome. Like if you are word of mouth and you're content with that, but if you're at a point where you're like, okay, maybe I have room to grow. Like I want to grow. My word of mouth is great, but I have the room to grow. I want to expand. I have the manpower to take on more jobs. So, how do I do that? You get online, right? And that's part of like how you can capture more customers. You get a Google business profile, you get a business Facebook page, you get a website, which we're going to dive into that shortly. But, that's like the most important thing because, you don't want to miss out on the opportunity of customers that when they have that need, when that need sparks and they go and search for somebody, you want to be there, because that's how they're gonna find you. And so I guess the main point of it is just being there when a customer has that need so you can capture them. So jumping into the next part of it, so they find you, what makes a customer click on you? What makes them click on your ad?
I feel like the first point would be hiring someone that can do the work for you because, you're not going to be able to do everything. So hire a marketing company that does that for you and that can do it better and that they're like specialized on the services you have. Because, not everyone knows about what you're doing, about your industry. So I think that'd be like the first step. Like, if you're not going to be able to do it in-house, then hire a company that knows how to do it and like can really help you,
Yeah, for sure. And I think, what kind of entices me to click as a customer is that if they invoke like an emotion in me. So if I feel like I'm getting a good discount or, if they marked up their services, or I know like stores mark up their clothing and stuff, but it's like, hey, you're getting 50% off today. Oh, I'm buying because I feel like I'm getting a deal. So, I'm thinking part of my customer journey is always feeling like, I'm getting a benefit out of it, or, I'm getting an offer that I can't refuse or a deal.
Yeah. One thing too, like circling back with the blogs, like I just think it's so important. Blogs have always been important, but like now more than ever with AI overviews and everything, like it's so important, like, because a lot of people now, like they're not, I'm not going to discredit that people are still searching for services, near me. Like they're going to search gutter cleaning near me, but also too, a lot of people are like turning to Google for like, just like questions that they would like normally ask like a person, like saying like, hey, how much does it cost to clean my gutters? These are things that the customer wants to know. And with a blog, you have the opportunity to show up and be that customer. So it's like, if you're a company and I have a question online that I search and you show up like your blog, and you're answering my question, like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna probably look at you more, because you're answering my question. And then I can look on your site and, learn more about your company, learn more about what I need, how you can fill my need. And then, throughout the customer journey, like, you're answering questions, and then, I'm on to that inquiry stage. Like, okay, what do I do next? How do I go about contacting you, or at least that company is in my mind for when I'm ready to purchase.
Exactly. And not only that, Kaylee, I feel like there's also other important stuff like going on. Like for example, if you click and you leave like your information in there, like how long will it take the business owner to contact me? Like that's like the first point of contact. You called and you left your info in there. So are they really replying? Like how fast is this happening? Because if this doesn't happen, then you'll go ahead and look for somebody else, And this is when the whole customer journey is important, I feel.
For sure. I've had plenty of times where I filled out a quote and no one ever got back to me. So it's super, like Anna says, it's super important to make sure you have that follow-up process in place where it's either automated or, you're right by the phone, picking up that phone call, replying to that form submission, etc.
Yeah. So, and when it comes to like finally getting to that inquiry, it's like, okay, what's going to get a customer to want to do that, right? Like I did touch on blogs and like, how that's going to make me click and get there. But like after they click, like what is like a customer look for? And I think that's where we dive into our website example of, what is the customer looking for when they finally land on your site? Like, are they able to like clearly navigate your site and get what they're looking for? So we're going to go over that too.
Yeah, for sure. And I can pull up on my screen the website example right here. So say, the customer saw a engaging offer, engaging call to action, and then, or even, blogs funneled them onto the site. What are they seeing when they first get to the site? I know this little handy dandy tool is going to make me be able to write on here just a preview of that. So what are they seeing when they first land on this site? I know Kaylee and Anna have some input, but what I first see, their logo right here. Their brand is on point. Mm-hmm. At the top here, I see a call us button. I see a link to their socials that makes me realize, they care about their marketing. They're credible. As a marketer myself, that's what I notice. They have a navigation bar that's easy to read, home, about us, services, service areas. So in case, I wanted to see if they service my area, I can click there really fast. Or, if I wanted to see their projects, galleries, something that stands out to me first is this giant, offer that they have, $20 off for first time customers. Obviously, this is just a example site. So your offer may look like this, or it may look like more money off or a percentage off. We always recommend a dollar amount. It's more engaging on the marketing end, but I'll let Anna and Kaylee go through this as well. If you can share your insights on what you see first.
Yeah. So one thing that I love about like a site, or, I think it's important that that the company is local to you, right? So like I could go on like any gutter cleaning site and see like, okay, they just do gutter cleaning. But I love how the main text here is like South Florida, okay, they're in South Florida and they're in Palm Beach County. Okay, I'm in Palm Beach County. So this is like exactly what I need to see. And, it's super important on a site, like if you scroll down, Mara, I know that what's super important is that as I'm looking through the site, trying to learn more about the company, I see that call us button that just stays there. So at whatever point I'm at the site, I'm able to just click that button and call the company because I'm ready to inquire. Also, with the navigations on the side, I have an easy way to contact the company, and I think that's super important because the ultimate goal on a site is to have a customer inquire with you, right? So you want to give them multiple opportunities that wherever they're at on the site, whatever page you're on at the site, that they're able to give you a call, that they're able to, submit a form to you. So that way, they're not lost. You don't want to have your site shouldn't just have like, a phone number that's like not clickable or anything, like, because nobody's really going to remember your phone number. Like, you want to make it super easy and convenient for your customer to contact you. So that way, they can move along further in that customer journey.
To me, there's other important things as well. Like, for example, I see the socials in there. I'm kind of a stalker, so I love to look into socials, like see what kind of information they have in there, like the kind of jobs they're doing, where they're working at. I'm also a fan of reviews. I read a lot of reviews because I feel like reviews are like super credible. There's a bunch of people who are contacting you to get your services. So yeah, like I feel reviews is kind of a good way to know about your company and how you work, and if you're like a fit for me. So yeah, like I feel like having socials on your website is also really important because people do look at that and see like how reliable you are, and the reviews as well. Like I mentioned before, I feel reviews are like super important to me. I mean, everyone has like a different perspective. I feel like we look at different stuff, like the three of us have mentioned. But yeah, reviews are super important, and also what I look at when I'm like within a website are like the different sections. I just want to like know more about the company and how I can schedule a call, who's gonna be there, like is it like a family who owns the business? Like I try to like the business to go with who I am as well. So it's kind of important portraying it in there. Like, is it a familiar business? Are you by yourself? Do you have, like that kind of information I feel helps as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, okay, could we talk about the photos on a site? Because I know stock photos, stock photos, but when you can have your own like company photos and like, like Anna said, like wanting to know more about who is part of the company. Like, okay, like this is an example site, but we have the drain dude. Okay, who is the drain dude? Who is behind the drain dude? Who is the owner? What are they about? Where are they from? How are they going to help me? And that's where like, having an about us page, that's super important. I think like if you are like, as a business owner, I think it's really important that, you have like, people care about your story, like when they can have like, they can find a family business and learn like, oh my gosh, like, okay, these people started a business from, 3 generations ago, and it's still going today, and they're able to like see a face like of somebody who's behind the company and the story of a person that's behind their company. It kind of like just sparks like more of like a personal like touch, I guess. It's personable. And I think for me, like that kind of attracts me more to a company to like say like, okay, like if I give this person a call, this is probably who I'm going to talk to. And just stuff like that. I think, I love the personal pictures when I can see a company that has like, their own pictures, their own, stuff on their site instead of stock.
For sure. And I love, when a company breaks down their process on the site.
Yeah.
So I can be prepared, get a fast quote, set a schedule, or if they're going to call you with the schedule, just so, I'm a woman, so I like, my things detailed and, nice. Get a fast quote, set a schedule, and then, sit back and relax and wait for them, to give that quote, whether that be, today or tomorrow, just to set that expectation. So they're not, waiting around for weeks on weeks and weeks and saying, hey, their website says, quote in 1 to 2 days, but it's been 7 weeks, the expectation and then following through with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say that earlier that, it's good to have like something on your site too, to say like, if you fill out a form, like, okay, expect us to get back to you within 24 hours. And then like you're setting that expectation. And then obviously it's really important that you meet that expectation too. So that way, because that's the first impression that a customer is going to have really with your company. So that's where that follow-up comes into play also.
Yeah, also like something important to mention in there is sometimes we get business owners and they call us and they're like, hey, I'm not closing the deals. I'm getting enough traffic on my website, I have all call to actions. Everything's perfect, but hey, I'm not closing any deals. But what's going on within your sales process? Like, are you picking up every call? Are you returning every email to a person who submitted their information in there? Are you following up on them? Like, it has happened that the business owners come to us and they're like, hey, this is going on. And you're like, hey, what's going on with you? Like sometimes you need to have a really good sales process in order for like these leads that come in to convert, because that's also important. It doesn't take like a whole nice website or perfect reviews or perfect graphics. It's more than that, because you can have the perfect website, you can have the perfect reviews, you can have great graphic design, but if you're not like getting on top of your customers and calling them back or replying back to them soon, then that's what's up, because it has happened to me that sometimes like I sign up for whatever newsletter, let's say, and then I don't get like information about what I don't know what I signed up for, and then I'll just go looking for another company, because hey, what happened to this? Like I need information, and I don't need it by tomorrow. I need it by today. So sometimes like having automated processes can also help, because like I mentioned, it's not enough to only have like a great website or great social media. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I feel like it's really important, like what happens after I submit my information or call, like what are you going to do after that, after you get my call, after you get my information?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a low number of how many, salespeople stop after one follow up, which we can talk about in our other podcasts where we're talking about the other half of the customer journey. But, follow up is so important. Also, going back to the website, the frequently asked questions section is very important to have on your site because it answers, client questions that they may be looking for. So like what kind of this is a gutter site, so like what kind of gutter styles do you offer? Maybe they're looking for a certain one that you offer, and they can see like right on your site that you do offer that. So they're, hey, they offer this, I'm more inclined to call. Or do they do gutter repairs? Do they only do gutter installs? Whatever frequently asked questions that you feel would be helpful for a customer to put on your site, regardless of what your business you're in. That could help even escalate a sale or a lead coming in.
That frequently asked questions section also too can help you show up in that AI overview section, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you're answering most of the inquiries that are coming in for ChatGPT or Gemini are people asking a question. So, that conversational ask, it needs to answer that question. So it needs to answer that question, and it also needs to provide more information if they, are having a conversation after that.
Right. Yeah. I've seen this happen, like, more often than not now, the frequently asked questions. And, it's just like, I think it's really important to have nowadays, and then it's also just it's another funnel to your site, like we talked about, social media and stuff. And like, once you have your site, you should list it like everywhere, because those are just extra funnels to bring them to your site,
Exactly. Yeah. So this is, an example site, but it does have a lot of good things on it. Palm Beach County, it lists all of the cities, and I would recommend, putting a surrounding areas just so a customer doesn't go to your site and say, hey, they only service these cities. You want to make sure you're putting the surrounding areas. It's also really important to have a get a free quote. My personal opinion, I like this at the top of the site just because, it's there. But a lot of people do put buttons or anything just to make it look more clean. I think both work, but my personal opinion, I do like the quote form at the top because it's easy to fill out all the information.
Yeah, I agree.
Also basic information, like sometimes we see like these forms that have a lot of info, you're gonna be like, oh no, I'm not gonna put all of that information in there. So like keep it real, and make it easy. for people like to leave their information in there.
Yeah, I think that comes to like from like I guess what you're looking for, like, you know, because you could have a short form like this, and I think that's going to help you capture more leads. That's going to give you quantity. Then if you have those longer forms though, like a lot of business owners, they like to have, you know, that longer form to capture you know, more quality leads. But then at the end of the day, you do have to consider that that's probably going to lower your lead conversion and the amount of leads you're going to get. So it's that quality quantity balance that you got to measure out there.
For sure. And you know, all the information, like I personally want to fill out a short form, call me and we'll talk, you know. But a lot of, you know, business owners want all that information up front, just, you know, easy on their sales process. But you got to remember, you know, the customer is looking at that form saying, I'm not filling out my mother, my cousin, my picture, my gutter, all that stuff. You know, you want to keep it short and simple. I hope you guys got something out of this customer journey podcast. We are going to be leaving a free checklist in the comments, so you guys check it out. And if this was super helpful, share it with another business owner. We're going to be talking about the second part of the customer journey in the next podcast. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for joining in.